Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, so we're Salt and Honey. We are a podcast, but we haven't recorded in a bit, so we're doing some live streaming so we can show you visuals. I think that's what I want to say. Yeah, we're trying to mix things up a little bit. So today we're talking about Kakegurui, which is like the series of a manga series, anime series, a live action, and there's also movies. And we're joined today by David Brothers. And David Brothers, is a writer, comics critic, and editor at Viz Media, where he works on books like Hell's Paradise and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And we'll plug David at the end.
Sweet. Hey, yeah, I'm stoked. I like this series a lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
and you
And
wouldn't
this,
expect it, I don't think, because it's strange, you know?
I feel like I don't really know anyone that has watched this. Like, no one recommended this to me. I think one day I was just like, I'm gonna watch some anime. Let's see where this goes. Like, I'm so bad at watching anime that like usually I just stop.
Hmm.
But for this one, I was like, this is weird and crazy, and I like it, so I just kept going.
Yeah,
Well, probably the fastest I've ever watched a series as an adult.
that's awesome. Because I think it has like this weird, like shonen pace, despite not really being a shonen story, where
Yes,
like
totally.
everyone's a lunatic and just always at giving 110%.
Yeah, they're very cartoonishly over the top for sure.
Hmm. Yeah, I think I found it through the manga first. Like the cover to the first volume is very creepy and weird. Like it looks almost like it would be supernatural horror. And
Yeah.
then I bought it and started reading it, and it was not scary at all.
The art for
But
the manga covers and the manga look really different. Is it the same artist?
I think it's the same artist, but like they just get to really do designy stuff on the covers and like really render it differently.
Yeah, it's like it's very different. I feel like it's kind of scary, and the insides are just like not generic necessarily, but like they're definitely more
Like
what you'd
slick.
expect.
Yeah, for sure. The color pages are like way overexposed, like fake animation kind of. But the facial expressions are like the draw of the book for me in a lot of ways.
Hmm.
Like you see a bit of it in the anime, but especially in the manga, like they just like really cartoon and like screw up people's faces when they're doing all their gambling stuff, and it's so fun. Like it's such a ridiculous thing.
I grabbed some like screenshots and some gifs, so I'm gonna play those while we talk.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, before we get deeper into it, like maybe I'll say what the series is about in case people listening haven't
smart.
seen it. So, Kakegurui, compulsive gambler. It's set in a private academy in Japan. It's a high class elite school full of like really wealthy students. And there's and they're kind of like influential. Like a lot of these students are going to be like future leaders probably. But yeah, the main thing that goes on at this school is gambling. So we follow, and of course the students are ranked by like how much money they contribute to the school, and they end up being on the student council. So yeah, there's tons of gambling at the school, and if you fall into debt, you become like a doggy or a kitty, or in the dub, I think they call them Fido and like
Yeah,
Mittens.
And
yeah.
mittens.
And yeah, so that's the premise of the story, and it's just like super ridiculous, high stakes gambling with teenagers. Yeah.
Mostly teenage girls.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. The live action drama has more male villains than the manga and anime do. So I feel like
Oh, weird.
there's like the bullying guy in the anime, and then that's
Yeah.
it. Everyone else is just a different flavor of like archetype of girl.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that.
It's
I feel
weird
like it's,
because go for
oh
it.
no, you can go ahead. I was just gonna say it's weird because I feel like I only think about the girls and the guys are kind of just like most of them are just side characters.
I think the creator feels the same way. Uh, but it's like a horny manga, but no one cares about sex in the book, which is different. So like it's
Yes,
not
Yeah.
like there's fan service, but it's not like a leering fan service all the time, which I think makes it a little bit better.
yeah, it's like weirdly non-sexual
Yeah.
I
somehow.
mean,
Like,
it's like all the sex is displaced into gambling. Like all
yeah,
of
it's
Yeah.
it's like an attraction to like the act of something
Hmm.
more than
Except-
like an attraction to characters usually.
yeah, except for like the main, like the co-protagonist, which is the boy whose name I forget. What
Suzui.
Suzui, yeah,
Yeah.
who actually likes the main lead, which is Yumiko Chibami, who's kind of this like gambling savant with a
Yeah, she's
very
amazing.
interesting. Yeah, she's incredible.
I love her.
I feel like most of the matches early on have that moment where the other person is kind of like they have the advantage, and they're like, "Oh wait, no, she's really crazy,"
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it just immediately goes downhill.
Yeah, I think that's why I got really into it because I feel like a lot of it's like not a typical protagonist. Like she's a very
Mhm.
like atypical protagonist. Like she's very opaque and she's like kind of hard to understand. I would say really hard to understand. And you kind of learn more about her by the other characters talking about her,
Hmm.
especially in the second season when like you get a little bit more backstory, but like it's not like totally filled in for you, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's very much like about the day to day, rather than whatever dark. Like I feel like she has to be out for revenge or something like that. But
Yeah, like a little bit.
Yeah,
but
we
the
get
cast
the
is
hint
really
of
cool.
we get the hint of her backstory with the is it her sister that's in the
Yes, her sister.
yeah, she's like in a hospital. She's hospitalized for something, which is interesting. But it's only ever shown like maybe once or twice. And
They show it
besides
like
that,
once.
Yeah.
They show it once in the beginning, and they show it at the end of the second season.
Hmm.
Because there's a, I guess we can. I don't know. Should we cover like season by season, or should we just talk about what we like about it?
I think what we like about it.
Yeah.
Won't be
Let's
super
do that.
formal.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it has this weird, inexplicable quality to it. I think I was trying to nail it down the other day because I was rewatching it to kind of prime myself to talk about it more. And I don't know, it's weird. I don't know how to explain this to someone who hasn't watched it or isn't like that interested in watching it. I feel like it's a little bit of a hard sell.
Yeah, but it has like such a sports manga energy, I think. And
Yeah,
that's
it
partly
does.
why. Like Yumiko's, she's really good, but she's kind of the underdog because she's new to the system and she doesn't have as much money as everyone else. Then everyone has like their own special thing that they're really talented at, and in this case, like different gambling games.
Yeah.
Because the way the manga's broken up, pretty much there's one or two games per volume, and then like a little essay about how they work at the back, which is really complicated.
Yeah, I don't even know how they come up with these games. I'm just like, this is incredibly
Yeah,
far, like very far out of like my like scope of understanding for sure.
and the cast immediately figures the games out and do like complicated odds in their head. And I'm like, I could never hack it at this school. Like I would be
Yeah.
screwed immediately.
Yeah, I love like the like I don't know, I guess like the game that she has with Manuda, the guy,
Yeah,
and the student council, because it's like she doesn't say anything basically. Like she like kind of talks a little bit, but she doesn't really give him any hints or anything. So you kind of can just read. He's trying to read like what everyone else is doing, like what Itsuki's doing, and like her freaking out and like trying to play that way, which I think is interesting
hmm,
because it just goes back and forth so much. And I also like the part with like the pop idol before that.
oh, where she can
Mita.
sing incredibly well.
Yeah, she could sing like really well, and then also like they were. I don't, it was just like she was like, is she writing a 6 or a 9 or like on the card like what month she's born in, like, and both of them have it wrong anyway. It's just like
Yeah,
it's stuff like that that just cracks me up.
yeah, it's really charming. Like just anything goes, I think, as long as like you can fit it into some kind of gambling like format. Like all
Yeah,
the Russian
totally.
roulette stuff, like this school would be shut down so fast in real life.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
don't even like go to class or anything. I feel
Oh,
like everything is decided by like how well they gamble.
yeah. It's such an absurd idea. I think that's partly why it's charming is like there's not going to be anything super realistic or like heartbreaking about it. It's pretty safe.
Yeah, there's no realism. Everyone is like pretty over the top.
Yeah. But Sloan, why did you try it?
So Leslie watched it and then told me to watch it. That basically the
Okay.
first time hearing it was during the stream, and then you were like also into it, and I was like, okay, I'm curious now. This is an
Yeah.
interesting intersection between both of you.
Yeah, because
So-
I think we're both this is an anime for weirdos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like it's not just like the typical recommendation.
Yeah.
It's very
Geek
loaded.
anime.
So yeah, I was like, the first episode was really interesting because it's like obviously you got these like super absurd, absurd setting, really extreme, like high stakes, like people are made to act like slaves to these other students. But also I thought it was interesting, like you were saying, it's kind of like a sports manga because there's a lot of like strategizing and there's some skill involved, like in some of the games, but it also has this element of like a murder mystery, even though there's not always death on the line.
Psychological thriller.
Yeah. So it's like sports and a thriller, which I think is interesting because I don't always think sports manga is thrilling in that sense. Like it's more like dramatic, but it's not like
Yeah.
scary in the way that this is. So that was really interesting and like unique to me, and so that kind of kept me going through. And also just how, like we were saying, like how opaque Yumiko is. Like we don't know her motivations at all, and also she just like, eventually you learn she just gets off on almost losing or just like on danger.
just like the idea of like something dangerous happening, like all this money going somewhere, or someone dying, someone eventually dying.
Which
Just
I
wants
really
to watch
love.
the world burn.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's just that's kind of a unique like sports manga protagonist, because it's not like very like honorable. Like I feel like a lot of sports manga is like about, characters
Not
like
cheating.
not cheating and like building themselves up either mentally and physically to achieve a goal, but her goal is like win or lose, it doesn't matter as long as the process is like as thrilling as possible.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's basically like the character in battle manga that's like, I'm just here to fight. It doesn't matter
like
who.
they're like they're very hard to understand, and I think it's kind of fun too because it's just gambling, and she has like the greatest poker face of all time because you like can't tell what is going on behind, like even when she's like going nuts, it's like really hard to understand
Yeah.
what she's referring to, like why she likes it so much.
I love the
man.
moments when she's like disgusted that someone else tried to cheat or
yeah.
make the game in their favor. She's like,
Yeah,
no,
like,
I want a fair match. Like this is foul.
I do like that she kind of she like sticks with her impression of people, like that one girl, Midari, like the girl with the eye patch, how she was like, you don't actually like gambling, you just want to like die. And then after that she's just like you're dead to me, like
Yeah. But she
every-
makes like quick friends with Mary Saotomi. Like actually against Mary's wishes, I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, no, you understand the joy of the game.
She's like, no, I don't know what your deal is.
Yeah. It's so good. Because I think like a lot of protagonists like draw things out of their cast. Like in One Piece it happens all the time. It's like, oh, everyone loves friendship and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Here-
you actually want friendship, like
Yeah.
that's what you needed.
Here she's just more like, let's bet all of our money on this super long shot just to see how it feels.
Yeah.
And it's like weirdly refreshing. I don't know.
Yeah, I love
I
when she
think
gets
so.
mad at what's her name again? The one that has the gun. The introduction of the
Midari,
gun
yeah.
was just so funny to me. There's also a gun character in Jujutsu Kaisen. Like just all of a sudden, like there's just a character with a gun while everyone else is doing like martial arts and stuff, and I'm like, why do you bring a gun? Like,
How'd you get this gun in here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh god, it kills me.
Because it's a Japanese high school, like of all the places on earth where you're least likely to find a gun.
Yeah. I think they're all like, is that a model gun? I'm like, even if it's a model gun, you're not supposed to bring that to school either. Like,
Yeah, like this is still psychopathic behavior. Like, what are you doing?
But yeah, I love how she kind of cleaves to her like principles of being like having like the most dangerous game ever. So when that one girl is kind of like angling to have them both lose during the roulette game, and she like hates that and like refuses to acknowledge her existence. Like I really love that.
Yeah, because it's not like a true gamble, because they're kind of just, they're not like, I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit too predictable in that sense. So I think that's probably why she hates it so much.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like the pain or the losing. It's just like the chance of it.
Yeah.
And so I think it's the episode where they have their fingers in that like guillotine thing, and they're cutting strings or whatever. That's where she gets really pissed. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess we should probably talk about how intense the games get. Like even rock, paper, scissors becomes this whole production with like 30 different people.
Yeah.
Betting rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, they're like voting by like they like draw it on a card or something, and they like just draw randomly.
Yeah.
Like, how does this, like, who even came up with this? This doesn't make any sense, but.
Yeah, like how is this fun for anyone?
Yeah, exactly. It's so weird.
Like they're so high stakes for the gamblers and the spectators in a weird way, because like they're part of the game a lot of times, or at least watching the game and betting on the game.
Yeah.
Right.
The part that stunned me when I was first reading the book was the double memory with the fingernails girl, where she had all the cards laid flat on the table.
Yes.
And like they both have incredible memories. And
that was like, I was like, oh my god. And she was like cheating too. But
yeah, even the way she was cheating, I was like, this is too much for me. Like I'm too dumb to pull this off.
Like you would have to, because you can cheat, but you can only cheat for like I don't know, like 1 minute or something.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, how do you make all those pairs? How do you make like 54 pairs in 1 minute?
Yeah.
Even that is like absurd.
It's really satisfying. It's like people being just hyper competent at something that I'm not good at.
Yeah, something I don't understand. I'm like, interesting.
And everyone's like a different. Like this seems like such a cosplay friendly series because everyone is such a like type, Yeah. Like there's like a traditional one.
I love their like dealers uniforms. Just like, this is so weird. Like, why would you do this?
Yeah,
I like the traditional culture club girl with like her crazy roulette that like has like that you could either live or die in, and
with the knives.
Yeah, the knives going in different directions means that you like win or lose even if you are on the right number or whatever. I was like, what? I think the first time I saw that I was like, I don't understand what's going on. Like, I'm just gonna go with it. And I think I had to watch it again, and I was like, I think I kind of get it, but why would you do this?
Yes. It's fun because she's another example of like the crazy facial expressions that pop up in the series.
Yeah.
Because like her eyes are closed the entire time, except maybe towards the very end, like when she's losing.
Yeah, they're like kind of opening.
Yeah, and everyone's like, "Oh man, like this is a big deal." It's so goofy.
Yeah, I love when everyone's like at the like peak of their like stress. They're just like pouring sweat and like shaking, and like their eyes are
like
bulging.
veins are popping out.
Yeah.
So.
And meanwhile, Yumiko's smiling and laughing in their face.
Yeah, yes. She's like very happy, very very joyous.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you have like a favorite game?
Oh man. I think the rock, paper, scissors, because it didn't turn out at all how I expected.
Mm-hmm.
Because Kaiji, the other gambling manga,
yes,
the big gambling manga, also has like a really good rock, paper, scissors story.
They did
arc.
do that, yeah.
Though I think they spent like 20 chapters on it or something wild like that.
It was like a whole thing where they had to like win cards from other people, but this one was just like they were just like one-off matches.
Yeah. And I never really thought about rock, paper, scissors having so many different variants and like entertaining ones too. Though I assume both are like super fake.
Yeah.
But But it was sort of like the series saying like, hey, this is what this is going to be like. It's going to be just buck wild all the time and also really complicated. So,
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a good first episode because it just sets the tone for like the rest of the series. That just gets more and more wild, and it's kind of weirdly poetic in a lot of places. Even though like the characters are just so over the top that you don't really feel anything, but it's kind of like, oh, I get what they mean now, like by these episode titles or something.
Yeah, the one where the house pet breaks away from the bully and it's like, I'm a human being.
Oh yeah, I love that one.
I was like, oh, this is touching. Like they got me. How about you two? What do you have a favorite game?
I'm trying to think. Do you have one, Sloan?
I like the one with it's Yumiko and like the boy that's on the student council. What's his name again?
Manuda?
Yeah, Manuda. I like
yeah.
that poker game because I was like, I understood the rules and I love the twist on them. So it's like a triple layered bet. They're of like high and low, and I love that. I was like, oh, that sounds so fun. It made me want to play it. And that's like also the first time kind of in the series where someone has kind of figured Yumiko out, and so I was also like kind of like thrilled by that idea that I was like, oh, someone's finally playing like with her chaos in mind, but of course he still loses.
And his hair turns white, right?
Yeah, he like freaks out so bad that his hair turns white permanently. He's just out. He's like,
that's
no, I'm
so anime.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's super good.
I think I liked the game where they were like poisoning each other. those two twins that like poisoned Yumiko, so she couldn't even play, and it was just Mary playing for her.
Yeah.
I thought that was very fun.
That game I did not understand.
Yeah, I did not understand that one, but I was like, this episode is like off the chain. You don't know what's happening. But I liked the what was that? I liked it when they were doing like the debt redemption thing. I forget what it was called exactly. I like that game as well because I think it's just so simple that you can understand it. And I think it's funny that they call bad hands pigs.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I didn't know that was a thing. I guess,
Yeah. That was a good episode for showing like kind of how the world works, like around the school. Like here's the logic of all of this wild stuff that you're watching.
Yeah, totally. I also don't. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, like you mentioned that the live action show was cringe.
Yeah.
But I think the first episode of that is similarly like, here's what we're gonna do. Like this is what this show's gonna be like. And like the lighting is so melodramatic that I kind of got sucked in a little bit. But it very much is super cringe, but cringe in a way that I think I can stand because like I've been through Curb Your Enthusiasm. Nothing's worse.
Oh yeah, so
than
you're
that.
like this is painful cringe, but I like it because for some reason. I think this is like kind of unrelated, but I guess I didn't realize until recently how complicated people's bets were until I watched like Uncut Gems, and I was like, why do people do this? Like this is like insane. Like why do people make such crazy bets? And then apparently it's a thing, and I was like, I guess this is like way out of my wheelhouse. I had no idea people did this, but it makes sense. And it was like really prevalent in this because it's just like, I'm like, what? Like, what are you guys betting? Like, someone dying or are they leaving the school or something?
Yeah, it's so stressful. So many side bets.
And all the stakes, like the part where they're like, all right, if you lose this bet, we get to decide your life for the rest of your life.
Oh yeah, you have to like marry some like gross politician or something. I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
So good.
And all these people at most 16 years old. Like it's so screwed up.
And the other people that are deciding are other kids.
I don't know.
Oh, I was thinking I love also the other game that's like the community one where you can bank your coins or you can put it into the tax thing. I thought that game was like so good. I've never heard of that game before. I'm sure it's like, it sounds like it would be like a school experiment or something, like a social experiment. But that one was super fun too.
Yeah. I think all the games are really creative. Probably especially the ones I don't get because I don't understand them. But Like they just seemed like cool fusions of different ideas, like different kinds of stakes. Even like the finger
Mhm.
guillotine is like a really creepy, gross idea,
Yeah.
but the way they did it was like kind of cool at the same time. Was that
Yeah,
the same one with like the window that they couldn't see through, or was that the Russian roulette one
I think that was
with
the
the eye
Russian
patch
roulette
girl?
one.
Okay,
yeah. The Russian roulette had like the like one way like
One-way
like,
mirror window.
television broadcasting thing or whatever.
and the
Yeah.
guy had the moment where he's like, "I'll always trust Yumiko."
Yeah.
He's such a funny character for like a kind of audience surrogate. It's just like he just like loves her and like she like doesn't give him any like doesn't give him anything. She's just like, you're fine. Like you can be like this guy that follows me around and
Yeah.
like I use you to like play
As a
games.
bank.
Yeah.
The one where like they give him like a 239 million yen check, and he's like, "Oh, I'm so glad you came back for this."
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know what to do with this. I don't know why I have this.
He's so
And Mary's
pure.
like, I hope he gives it back, and he just gives it to her.
Yeah. By that time, he's just like, of course, Yumiko like devised this. Like,
Yeah, she knows what I need in life. I'm just gonna follow her until I die.
yeah.
One thing I didn't realize, like I mostly read the manga and then watched the anime after, is how colorful all the student council members are.
Hmm.
Like the president has like the snow white hair and like the blue lipstick. The one who's always playing Switch is a really good character.
I also like her.
Oh, is that
Yeah.
the one with like? Is that Runa with like the little hoodie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's really good.
She's like the gamekeeper, kind of.
yes.
Mhm.
And they're
And has, like,
what
a
is her
dumb
saying? She's
smirking
always
laugh.
like, yeah. She's always like, she's always got that sign that says like neutrality, like in her office. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. Like it looks like such a fan service fetish manga, and like it kind of is, but there's so much on top of that too, I think. That like kind of doesn't care about the fan service part, where it's like, no, we're just gonna get weird. Like the series is
Yeah.
somehow a success. I'm gonna do whatever I want.
I think it's like the fan service is kind of grotesque. Like it's like kind of uncomfortable to look at, so you're not really like, oh, this is just
Yeah.
like titillating. So it's like kind of like it is like a bit unsettling to watch. So I think if you can get over that, you'd probably really like the show. Anyone
Yeah,
who hasn't watched
definitely.
it.
It's
Yeah.
yeah, unsettling is a good word for it.
Yo, I've seen like this on like scrolling through Netflix, and like I was like, oh, okay, this looks like typical, just like their
Anime.
like their boobs
Mhm.
are like drawn like so very like vacuum sealed.
Yeah, they're like
through their
drawn
suit.
through their clothes, like
Yeah.
3 layers of clothes.
So I was like, yeah, it's like that type of
Yeah.
anime. But I think it really kind of redeems like the fan service with how grotesque their faces are at certain
Yeah.
points. Like
It's
especially
like-
Yumiko gets like these like her whole face gets like shaded black. and-
Distorted.
yeah, and
I
she's
love
like
the skinny
scoldy
eyes.
looking. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, you're embracing
Yeah.
like the hotness, but also like how they're like grotesquely like scary. So I'm like, okay, I can accept that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love like that like kind of when she has like her red eyes and like it's kind of like a smearing all over the screen. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is crazy.
Like this is why I watch anime. Like show me something cool and weird.
Yeah, show me like a weird drawing that like probably wouldn't exist otherwise.
Yeah. When Leslie said it was anime for weirdos, like I totally agree.
Yeah.
Because like you can't, there's no easy one sentence pitch, it'd be a different pitch for every person, because it'd be something
Yeah,
else about it that they like. It's like pitching like Fooly Cooly or something. Like there's some boy comes of age. Like that sounds super boring.
Yeah.
But when you add in like the robots and guitars and everything else.
Yeah. A robot
Yeah,
comes
like,
out of
you
his
can't-
pimple. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can't explain, you can't like begin to start explaining it in a way that makes sense to
Yeah.
someone who's like, on the fence about watching it or not.
It's like, what if gambling addiction was awesome? And you're like, well, that's like quite elite.
What if you were
Yeah.
what if you were really sick and you had like unlimited money and you're really hot and like good at gambling?
Yeah. This
Sounds
is the
great.
most 1%er manga that I read, I think. Because everyone's got to be rich, like super
Yeah,
rich.
exactly.
There are no
And
poor
I'm like,
kids
I'm
in
fine
this
with
school.
it. I
Yeah.
like it.
I love when hot people have hot problems.
Yeah. So like I'm interested like you were talking about kaiji earlier, and let's say I know
Yeah.
you've read this. So like where does this sit in like I don't know, the lineage of like gambling or like tabletop gaming? Like I haven't read kaiji. I've read a little bit of like Akagi, which is like a mahjong
Hmm.
manga, and then like Go. But yeah, what are your thoughts on like this in comparison to the others in this genre?
Leslie, you want to go first?
Um, I don't know. I feel like it's really because it's like when I think about gambling manga, I automatically think about kaiji. But this like I feel like maybe this has usurped it, but it's also like I feel like they're just so totally different. Like kaiji fills me with dread
Yeah.
and like makes me sweat. Like it just makes me feel like, oh my god, like what if this happened to me? Like what if I was stuck in this situation? You know,
Yeah.
it's like a little bit of a darker look at gambling addiction, like a very unglamorous one. And this one, it kind of just feels like, you know, I don't think any of these people would be on any of those like kaiji boats or
Oh.
like in any of those games. Like they wouldn't be in those situations, which is why it's kind of interesting because it's so high stakes, but it's like kind of not. Like it's like a weird, you know, it's like a one percenter weird game. Like I don't know
Yeah.
why they're doing it.
Yeah, I agree, especially when you said like Kaiji's a grimmer look at this kind of thing.
Hmm.
Because like the stakes are very much like win or we're gonna send you to mine like diamonds in South Africa or something like that. And
Or
like
like,
this way too viscerally, like you're in debt, you're going to debtor's prison.
yeah, this is
And
your last chance before before you're
yeah.
like, we really own you.
And Kakegurui is like, oh yeah, we'll take control of your life, but it's positioned in such like a amplified anime way, I think,
Yeah.
that it doesn't feel like it's gross. You're like, okay, great, like the creepy guy plot twist, but it's not frightening or dreadful, I guess.
Yeah,
Um,
it's strange. I think because they can always kind of frame it in a way that doesn't seem dreadful or awful.
yeah. Did you see the movie The Bling Ring? Sofia
I did watch
Coppola.
that.
It was basically like rich people breaking into houses and having rich people problems.
Yeah.
And I liked it a lot. It was like a weird feel good summertime movie. But there's got to be a version of that movie that's much more grim, where it's like these kids broke into houses and now they're in prison. And like
Yeah.
Kaiji's the prison one, this one's the bling ring.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of like this. I don't know. It's weird because it's like I wouldn't even call it sugary, but it's kind of like this like candy version of that.
Yeah, it's sort of like a Showtime like Skinamaxy kind of thing. Very cotton candy, candy floss.
You can see that.
Yeah, but the manga, it's one thing that the manga does more than the anime is it explains all the games in like super great detail. Like the
Hmm.
anime does it some, but there's so much more space when you can just do like one drawing. It's a chart with like 15 steps. So they put so much like thought into the gambling that I'm always kind of like I want to read why they made the choices they did, like why they made this game like that. And that's not something I feel for like a lot of manga. Like I've read like lacrosse manga, but it didn't make me want to watch a lacrosse game or something.
Hmm.
There's a lacrosse manga. What is that?
Cross manage. It ran in
Oh,
Shonen Jump for like 12 months or something like that, maybe just a year.
oh,
Uh,
interesting.
but a guy becomes a manager of a lacrosse team and has to kind of turn it around. It might have been, was it the same artist as Blue Flag? Maybe not. But the artist went on to do something else that people liked a lot more.
Hmm.
Yeah, I feel like I understand like the sports anime vibes I get, but I also feel like so much of sports anime, you know, it's like a shonen trope. It's so
Hmm.
noble. It's so like pure-hearted, and like people go through the training arcs, and like, you know, everyone's going through some sort of like Dragon Ball type training
Yeah.
arc at some certain point. You know, like it's just undeniable that that has to happen. But for
Hmm.
this, it's like it's so strange because like they can go up and down and like be at the way bottom and be at the way top in like a matter of minutes.
Yeah.
So just like in a
It's such
way,
like
it's
a
like not like
JoJo's
that at
thing to
all.
me,
Yeah, exactly.
where also there's like a lot of explaining, just like JoJo. But everyone has like that moment where they seize the day, but then like their enemy somehow saw that coming, and then there's like the double reverse.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so confusing. It's like, it's the same type of thing where I'm like, Araki has such a big brain. Like, I don't understand even like this, like, I'm like scratching the surface of like what I think he's thinking. And then this is kind of a similar thing where it's like it's very confusing and like kind of, way out of reach, but in a way that's fun to think about.
Yeah. And it's unpredictable in like an awesome way.
Yeah, like I recently watched the JoJo anime, the fifth one, and I was like, I forgot how crazy this this went. I forgot how crazy this story is because I was like, I don't understand like what's going on. Like people are dying, but I'm not really sure how they're dying, and like I don't really understand these powers, but like I guess it makes sense.
And who knew the mafia worked like that?
Yeah, exactly. And also, they're such good like mafioso. They're like really nice, and they don't want people to deal drugs. I'm like, what is happening? Like, do you guys know where you are?
Like it's lucky that
thing.
They're hanging out together,
Yeah, they're like a boy band.
All the other mafias like, these guys are nerds. Like, what is the deal?
Yeah, why do they look like that?
Yeah.
Why did they act like that?
But that JoJo's level of like complexity to draw you in, and then like honestly like good jokes at the same time. I think like Araki has a really good sense of humor. I think Kakegurui sets up some really good jokes as well. Like there's just sort of something, a little bit of everything. I think that's sort of what kept me reading it. I'm like 12 volumes deep now. I was just looking at my ebooks over here.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How much farther ahead is the series compared to like the anime?
Isn't it behind?
The anime is way behind.
Yeah.
I think right now, like I don't want to spoil it, but a bunch of people who are related to the student council president showed up and are kind of aiming to become president of the school, I think. Mm-hmm. It's been going on for like 4 volumes. They introduced like 16 new characters. It was absurd.
Oh, okay. So that's like the second season.
Continuation of the second season.
Yeah. I think the second season gets into like the very beginning of that.
Interesting.
Gotcha.
But this is like full on family tree, like Game of Thrones.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I like that. You kind of realize that the student council president and Yumiko are like operating on a different level, and like all the characters in the series realize that too, because it seems like they both realize who the other person is. Like they're like distantly related or something. They're like distant cousins. But no one knows that until like maybe the end of the second season, but it's also like kind of obscured. So that's kind of why the revenge plot is very plausible, but also like it's so obscured. It's like kind of weird.
Yeah. Like, the fact that everyone's name rhymes ends up being like a plot point. It's like, they rhyme because they're all from like the same like main family. They're all branch families. It's like, come on. Like
the Bombies.
And they're all really weird names.
Yeah. Like really it's really unusual. Galaxy brain writing. It kills me. But we've got people in the chat.
Someone said comparison to Bling Ring is extremely apt. I agree. It's like, I don't know. It's really lighthearted.
Yeah. Food Wars is kind of close. I think this is more intense, but they have the similar levels of like ecstasy like exploding out of everywhere when good things happen.
Interesting. I haven't read or watched Food Wars yet.
It's got a lot of fan service. But it's very much like shonen cooking manga, so like similar motivation, like I want to be the best in the world. Also, I'm already like almost the best because my dad is the best, sort of a deal.
I like that.
Funny.
Like,
I think I've like watched. There was like that one cooking anime that had like the blue-haired boy. I don't remember what it was called, but I used to watch that one. And I've read Yakitate Japan, and those are the only 2 I watched. But maybe I'll check out Food Wars.
It's interesting. It's a lot more direct about its fan service than Kakegurui is, I think. But they've been doing one-shot manga where they do stories from Sanji's perspective in One Piece, which is kind of awesome.
I did see that.
I love that. I didn't know there was a Kaiji spinoff where they designed the rock paper scissors cards.
Oh,
Like that
weird.
sounds so specific, but I think it also means that Kaiji is like a huge hit if they can do that kind of a spinoff.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also,
It's
like I
it's
have Kaiji like right here next to me. I've been
Oh,
reading
nice.
it, the print version off and on for the past couple of weeks.
yeah, it's FKMT is very interesting. Like it's just
Yeah,
like the weirdest art. Like it really pushes you.
that's a good way to put it. Like so many of the heads are way too small for the body, but like perfect for its art style. You're like, how does any of
Yeah.
this work together? The weird pointy chins.
I remember the first time I saw his art and I was like, what is this?
Yeah, I'm into it though.
Like I would say like I kind of describe his style as austere. Like it's very like rigidly one thing, which is
Yeah.
I don't even know like how that happens. I think I'm just so opposite of that, but I like don't
Mhm.
understand it.
I think some artists find like the one thing they love drawing, and then they find an excuse to draw it over and over. Like I think of Children of the Sea, which I liked a lot. Like it's definitely just like ocean fan fiction,
Yes,
and
definitely.
it's beautiful. Like Igarashi killed it.
Yeah, you can like buy into the indulgence because it's just fun to look at.
Yeah,
And he's still like drawing sea animals now. He's just drawing them for like aquariums and different like I don't
he
know
won.
companies. He's like, okay, I'm just gonna stick with this for a bit.
Yeah, I
He's
love
like,
it.
I'm still hyper focused on this, so I'm just gonna I'll stick around here.
Wait, sorry.
The comments mentioned Liar Game, which I'm pretty sure I watched or read on Crunchyroll, but I can't remember what happened in it. But
Hmm.
like, there's definitely like a little bit of like a survival game vibe to Kakegurui, where like if you lose, you get
Yeah.
eliminated. But then like
Yeah.
Yeah.
they quickly just leave that behind because the cast is too charming.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. It's weird. It's like a beach read. It's a psychological horror
Yeah,
like thriller beach read.
yeah. You could buy this in an airport, and that'd be the perfect place to pick it up.
Oh, interesting. So Liar Game, I haven't read that, but they did the same artist did a baseball manga called One Outs, which I have read. That's
Hmm.
really interesting. I think that's also an anime. It's been a while since I read that, but
Hmm.
it's like yeah, it's an interesting genre to like be addicted to because it's so I feel like it has no it's very hard to do like surprises in sports anime or sports stories in
Yeah,
general because there's such a solid kind of plot or like narrative arc that the character like you know the characters are going to take.
yeah.
Yeah.
Even losing is like a predictable thing in sports anime.
Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
it
Like
has to
you're just
happen.
the like characters have to get better and they're gonna win or
Mhm.
lose and like that's about it. So like I'm always amazed when people can like spice that up. And
Mhm.
like with Yumiko and her like motivations or like lack of well, I guess she has a very specific like visceral
Just one
motivation for playing.
motivation.
Just like that alone is enough to like really like I don't know enliven that sort of story for me.
Yeah. And I
Yeah,
think that
because I
she
think
upsets the setting too. Like because
yeah,
she's
I
so
think
singularly focused.
a lot of the characters are just trying to break her, like kind of get her to admit something, but she won't.
Yeah.
Like I think it's just because she has such a singular focus.
Yeah. Like I did describe it as an anime where everyone wants to be stepped on while also stepping on someone else.
Yeah,
And I think
Yeah.
that's absolutely true. And it just depends on who is doing, who's in what position.
Yeah, and like when they do it, kind of.
Yeah. But I think my favorite like example of that is the Midari Yumiko relationship because she's so in love with Yumiko.
She's a simp.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like to the
100%.
extreme, and Yumiko's not having it.
I'm gonna
And
pull-
Yeah,
it's
she's
so
like, don't talk to me, and like
Yeah.
like her rejecting her like makes Midari like more crazy.
yeah.
yeah.
Like this is going
Like,
no.
steals
You can
it.
tell it's gonna end up horribly, which is
Yeah.
exciting as a reader because you're like, oh, this is gonna get really messy.
Yeah, I like the permanence of like the change in relationship.
Yeah,
Whereas like she kind of had like a neutral, like positive view on her, and then it totally soured, and like it's just like that now.
yeah. Though what killed me is she kind of becomes friends with the girl who is ripping off fingernails.
Oh yeah, Itsuki.
Oh
which I feel like is like serial killer behavior.
She's that like yeah, like my nail broke kind of recently and it was like something similar to that. So like when that happened, I was like, I can't handle this. Like I feel like I understand the pain and like and that's like amplified by 10 like, or
Yeah,
more.
it's too real now.
It's so nasty. I was like, I don't think that's okay. I don't think you should do that.
Yeah, I think they might have realized like they went a little too far because I feel like nothing else is that extreme or that
Yeah,
like,
there's not-
visceral.
Yeah, and it's weird because there's like a Russian roulette game. So it's like,
Yeah.
like why is this the worst thing?
Man, and it's such a messed up thing to imagine characters doing too. But maybe that's just me.
Ripping people's nails off.
Yeah, just for kicks.
Yeah, it's like the seventh part of JoJo where like Johnny can spin his fingernails off. Like that always grossed me
Oh
out.
yeah.
But I'm kind of like I guess I'm into it because it's just so like why would you do this? Like it's I think nails are just the thing that's like a universal trait most people have, and then it's just the pain of messing up your fingers is pretty universal as well.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I
It's
think
very
it's
specific.
very lurid, I guess is the best word for it. Because like it's gross, but you want to look.
Yeah.
And that really describes this series to me like to a T. Like it's weird and awkward, but like I really want to know what happens next. Like I want to see like how she's gonna beat these people in this game. I don't understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, I think,
I
like-
find it exhilarating.
Yes.
And I feel like in the first episode, like when she's standing outside the gates of the school, like she says something like she's gonna take it for all it's worth. So I feel like she has like such huge, like diabolical plans, and we haven't seen them yet. So
Yeah.
it's pretty exciting, I think.
She's
I
very
love the
like
opening to the anime as well.
I love both of them. Like those are the two openings that I watch every single time, even though I don't have to.
Yeah.
I think it's just fun because I feel like it gives a little bit of like tonal insight into the series.
It feels like the woman called Fujiko Mine, like the Sayo Yamamoto
Yeah,
Lupin the
yeah.
Third. Like that kind of gothic romance, I think really fits for it. But it's also like very anime and like pop at the same time.
Yeah. That like the first season's opening like
And
felt like it was giving me an aneurysm. Like there's like crazy jazz, and I was just like, oh my god, I'm not ready for this.
Indescribable.
Yeah. I think so. Like on the more critical side of things, I feel like my least favorite part of this series is actually like the villain, like Kirari. How do you feel about that character? I feel like she's like, I don't know how she is in the manga, but I feel like in these two seasons, like even though we see a lot of her, we don't get a lot of her personality. You know, she is like kind of like the reserved, like calm, collected character. But I don't know. I didn't like her that much.
It feels like a Deus Ex Machina type thing, where she just kind of comes in at the right moment. I don't dislike her. I don't think, but I'm like really curious to see if they make another season of the anime because I feel like it just ends. Second season just ends like not like on a weird note, but it just ends. So I would be interested in seeing if they go further with a character.
Yeah, I feel like she kind of has the same personality as like a video game boss from the Super Nintendo era, where like you know that they're bad guys because someone told you they're bad, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't get a lot from them.
Yeah, and like I think that she's exciting to see show up because she's opposite Yumiko. So you're like, oh well, she's gonna be her opposite but equal. So we can kind of like read into what she could be. But she really has no personality other than being like the cold like student council president.
Yeah.
Even down to like the blue lipstick to be like the ice queen kind of a deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And like
Which is kind of a bummer because Yumiko I think she's such like a flat character but like such a good one at the same time.
Yeah. I agree with that. I feel like I was like actually surprised at like the tower episode with like Sayaka and Kirari because I was like,
yeah.
I had no idea how it was going to turn out, and especially like at the end, I was like pretty shocked. I was like, you actually care about someone? Like this is crazy. I was like, is this real or is this just like It's just more,
Some kind of a mind game.
yeah, maybe. I could
I
see
hope
that
it is
too.
because it felt like it came out of left field.
Yeah, it was just so weird. I was like, all right, I'll go along with it, I guess.
Yeah. And another like grim thing they kind of like do in like a cool, casual kind of way, where it's like, hey, maybe you should kill yourself for your leader,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, like if you lose, then you should probably kill yourself. It's like, what?
Yeah.
she's like,
Wait, wait, what?
fine, I'll do it. Can you repeat that? You didn't
Yeah.
hear the rules.
I think my least favorite bit is also the size of the cast, kind of like getting to what Sloan's saying. Like you have so little time to spend with most of the characters that I think a lot of them become archetypes. Like we know that Midari is like the Russian roulette, like crazy one. And she kind of fits into other versions of that character we've seen in the past. Like maybe what's her name from Future Diary? Gasai Yuno. A similar kind of like I'm in love with you, and that means that I'm going to kill everyone who likes you, and also you, and then myself. And it's like this is really intense. Okay, we get it. But when they introduce, you know, like all the family members, and then like every student council president, there's too many people to keep track of for you to really like care about some of the gambling outside of seeing how like the main characters are going to win in the gambling.
That's supposed to be purposely confusing, right? Because there's so many of them.
Yeah, I hope so.
I think so. Because I feel like, because I like Batsubami, but for the most part, all the other branch members don't really do much.
Yeah,
They don't say that much. They're kind of cool, but like you don't really get enough time with any of them, except
they're
for
cool
I guess
visuals.
Batsubami.
Yeah. But like I love I'm glad Mary Satomi got like a spinoff. I think like she's a really strong character because she was kind of the Yumiko like the year before, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Where she came to the school and like really tore things up, and now like she's kind of on her way out a little bit. And like she's such a fun contrast because she's like very much like the Asuka of the crew, where she like she doesn't like anybody, but she will like hang out and have fun because why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, like she won't let you know that she likes you.
Yeah.
And she's like offended when you're nice to her or like want to
Yeah.
be friends.
Yeah.
Like try to hug.
I love it.
Even the like generic guy, the audience like point of view character, Suzui, like he's just so blank. Like he could be Tenchi Muyo or something.
Oh God, yeah.
It's so funny because like I think the setup, it feels like it would be like a harem anime or something, but it's just not like that at all, kind of.
Yeah.
Like he's kind of like he's like not like an entity
Yeah.
on the show.
He's there
like
to tell the reader who all these people are, and that's it.
Yeah, and also be
basically.
like, I know you don't understand.
Confused.
I don't understand either. And have the characters like spell it out for him in particular.
Yeah. What a trip.
So fun.
Osmo said the OP is directed by Sayo Yamamoto,
Oh, it is.
who did like the Fujiko Mine.
Yeah. And she did
Opening,
the
I think,
Persona
and Yuri on
5
Ice.
opening.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Because I think when she did Persona 5, the developers at Atlas gave an interview about it, and they were like, "Yeah, she just put ice skating in it because she likes it. Like we didn't ask for anything like that." And like again, like I love the passion, you know?
Yeah, like just really extending like, the prompt.
Yeah.
Like we didn't ask for this, but it's cool looking, so
Yeah.
we're gonna go for it.
I think this series has a lot of like, this is cool looking, so we're gonna go for it bits.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. It's so fun. Like it's such an easy read, I think, even though it's like really complicated, even though like there's a million characters, there's just something really charming and satisfying about it.
Yeah, I love it. I wish more people I knew would pick it up as
Yeah.
easily as Sloan did, because it's like I have tried to get people to watch it because I feel like it's really popular. Like I know a lot of like later down the line, like after I'd already watched it, I found out like people that I knew had watched it, but I couldn't get anyone that I knew that hadn't already been into it to get into it. So I was like, oh man, it's rough out here.
Yeah.
I want to talk to someone about it.
It's weirdly popular on TikTok.
Oh, is it?
Like I follow a lot of like anime people and cosplayers and stuff, and I think it's because the cosplay is like really simple.
Yeah.
but also like bold at the same time. Like you said, like the dealer jackets are a really cool look.
It's
So I
like
see
kind
it
of
on there
subtle,
quite a bit.
weirdly subtle.
Yeah, right. Like you could wear it out and people wouldn't get it, but the people who did get it would be like, "Oh, like you shouldn't." Like I see what you're doing here. It's not cool.
Yeah.
Like, stop.
Go back inside, you weirdo. Go change.
Oh man.
Yeah, very unique story. I'm like happy I stuck with it.
Yeah.
Not that I had trouble sticking with it, because I felt like it was really grabbing from like the beginning. I was just like, wow, okay.
Yeah. We're doing
I don't think
this.
there's anything else that
We're
has
doing
this sort of vibe, like very dark and chaotic. Like it's a very singular type of story, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think you have to kind of thrive on the chaos and like the unknown parts of it.
Yeah. But like the animation's really good too.
Yeah.
Especially for nowadays when so many shows are just kind of like that kind of stiff CG look.
Yeah.
Like the colors and the facial expressions and stuff, they really nailed it, I think.
I think they do a really good job with like kind of implementing 3D too. It's like not super obvious. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I like it. I really like the last episode of second season where like she has like Himeko has that like crazy like sequence where she like puts Batsubami's face in like her boobs basically.
Oh yeah.
But like right before that I was like, what is happening? Like what is this? Because she's like flipping her hair but her like boobs are like moving up and down and I was like, what? It's like, so weird. Like I had to rewind it because I was like, I don't know what just happened.
The physics is just like totally.
Yeah, her boob physics are pretty amplified in this.
Yeah. Jeez, that's no surprise though. I haven't seen a lot of like merch for Kakegurui, like statues and figures and stuff.
I think I had looked it up afterwards because I was curious and like there was like a pre-order and I was like, oh, I guess this is not happening.
Yeah. Because like there's so many spin-offs and seasons, you'd think there'd be like tons of
way more
trash to buy.
I think like I was like about to buy like a throw blanket of Yumiko, but I was like, why? Like, I was like, what am I doing? Like, I'm like,
I'm hoping it was just her face and like a weird expression. And
it was like,
huge.
it was, yeah. I kind of wish it was that because I think I would get it, but I was just like, this is it's getting a little bit weird. Like, I don't know, I don't know, like where the line is.
Yeah. Oh. So rewatching the anime reminded me that there's no easy way to translate Kakegurui. It's like they had to change the line in English to let's go gambling mad.
It's like let's bet.
Yeah, like it works, but it's less catchphrasey, I think.
Yeah.
But what can you do sometimes?
I think it's a good, good choice.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Man. But I was glad that you asked me to do this because I read the volumes as they came out, but I hadn't reread it yet. So getting to revisit and like see like the artistic evolution and like the storytelling and that kind of thing has been really fun.
Yeah, I should read the manga.
I'm glad you pitched it to me.
I'm thirsting for more because I guess I have to read the manga now.
You got to get ahead for the next season. The covers only get better, which is kind of cool.
Yeah,
like I think they have a
like
really cool aesthetic. Yeah, which are not represented in the series much at all. But it's cool to see. I don't know. Yeah, I just flipped through a spread with 10 new characters.
My God.
It's like I'm never gonna remember all these people.
It's so funny. It's like an info dump. I feel like the covers, even though they're by the same artist, it feels very like Western, where you're like, I'm buying this for the cover, and you're like, okay, the inside's not like the cover. Got it?
Like it's a hot new novel at Barnes and Noble or something like that. Like very like modern design.
Yeah,
and then it goes straight to anime style.
Yeah, just anime.
Man.
Yeah. Super good. Highly recommend. Yeah, any last comments about compulsive gambler or obsessive? Is it compulsive or obsessive?
Compulsive?
Compulsive.
Both.
Yeah.
It's really like give it a try. It probably won't if it doesn't grab you immediately, like give the second episode a try too, because it goes to some really weird places and some really fun places. And I think part of the fun of anime as like a North American watcher is seeing the kinds of shows and reading the kinds of books that we never get over here. Like I don't know any like American gambling comics, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Like very niche genre stuff.
Yeah. Like high school gambling. Like it gets even more niche the more you drill down.
Yeah.
But this is fun. Like go for it.
Yeah, I really like it. Like I feel like, I've tried to pitch this in many different ways. Like I said it was a yaoi manga with girls, which didn't work, but it kind of feels like that because it's like it kind of feels like, I don't know. There's all these different character types. So that feels very like, I don't know, weirdly regimented because there's just so many different archetypes.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, it has this weird tonal quality to it that I really enjoy, where it's a little bit confusing. Like it kind of reminds me of other things, but not enough to the point where I'm like, oh, this is just like another series. But it's also like something wholly unique. Or just like, I don't even know.
Very much so.
Yeah.
What about you, Sloan?
I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I would say that's a good way to pitch it. Like it's just like it's also just like relentless. Like
yeah,
I
it keeps going.
Yeah, I watched a season in one day and the next season the next day because it's just like
wow.
I don't know. It just like there's something that it has this like really great momentum to it that not a lot of anime has. Yeah, it's very gripping. And I was just excited to see like every game that they came up with. I really liked it.
Yeah, I think like the pace of it is really good too because it doesn't feel slow. It doesn't like linger too long on anything, which is kind of why I like it. Because I feel like there's a lot of anime where I'm like, oh, this looks really cool, but then like it lingers too long on certain aspects and I just get bored.
Yeah.
With this, I was just like, I'm just gonna watch all of this. Like, yes, like this is happening. These are my plans for today. I'm watching anime all day.
I think most of the games are maybe 2 episodes long at most.
Yeah.
Like there aren't long story arcs. They kind of get in and get out, which is really good for the momentum. Like if you're bored, just skip ahead like 20 minutes and like they're on some other ridiculous game.
Yeah, pretty much. I also want to shout out, this is kind of tangentially related, but there's this sports writer, his name is John Bois. He writes for like SB Nation. But he has this video series from like a year or two ago, and it's about the specific one, episode 8, it's called Why Do I Choose This for a Living? And it's about poker. And I feel like if you watch that, and it kind of gets into like the odds in playing poker, and kind of gets into like Chris Moneymaker and his success and like the odds of his hands that he gets in like his famous games. And it's like 1 out of like 1.5 billion that he would get like a certain hand. And it made like this series so much funner because it is so like risky, like
yeah.
And just hearing him break down the math of poker is horrifying, and it's terrifying that people play it with so much money. So I highly recommend that.
Yeah.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, it sounds awesome.
Scary.
Yeah,
very scary.
Very scary, and like I was like, why would you ever play this? Like even just playing the most basic like simple game, like even blackjack or something, I'm just like no, this is bad.
Like I feel like I know people that know other people that play like high stakes poker, and I'm like, how do you do that? Like what gets you to that point where you're doing that? Like I could see like buying it at like a $5 blackjack table or something, but I'm like anything more than that I'm like, that's crazy.
I need like 50-50 odds and like maybe a $20 bet at most. Like betting with friends is kind of my speed.
Yeah.
I can't go to somewhere to bet on something. Like it's too much. I don't know.
You just think about kaiju and you're like, never mind. I'm not gonna
yeah. Like I don't want to go to the debtor's prison. But this I highly recommend. I think it's only like maybe like a 10-minute long video, maybe shorter, but he's also really funny, so it's a good watch. And also watch Kakegurui.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you want to sign us out, Leslie, and we can do our plugs?
Yeah, so you can reach the podcast. If you want to email us, you can email us at saltandhoneypod@gmail.com, or you can tweet at us at saltandhoneypod on Twitter. Should I plug myself or should someone else do it?
Plug yourself, Leslie. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Go
you
for it.
can find me on Instagram at dairyfree and on Twitter at Leslie Hun. Like, why is this so hard? I feel like I say it all the time.
And David, where can we find you?
I am at Hermanos on Twitter, and I have a manga podcast called Mangasplaining. It's at mangasplaining.com.
Yes, very fun. I like your rotating cast of like co-hosts. Really cool.
Oh, yeah. It's a trip. We all went to Japan together, so it's like we have good chemistry.
Nice.
We got to remember to tell the background of stories, though, so it's not just in jokes on the podcast.
Oh yeah, yeah, love it.
Yeah.
Check out David's pods, and I'm at Sloanstone on Twitter, sloanstone.com, Sloan Young on Instagram, and that's our show. So yay! Thank you for
Sweet.
coming to chat with us, David. That was super fun. Thank you for putting me on to this anime. It was excellent.
Yeah.
Leslie too. Leslie gets credit too.
It was like me like kind of putting my toe in the water. I'm like, would you watch this? And then David was like, oh yeah, I like that. And like
Yeah.
that's kind of the push
It's
you
the
needed.
1-2.
Yeah, you pushed me
Yeah.
over the edge.
Yeah, I was like kind of like edging you towards it, and you got pushed.
Yeah. Everyone go watch this and have a good night. Bye.
See ya.
Yay.
Bye.
Woo.
Are we outroing?
Yes, I'm playing our outro. Woo.